Hi everyone, just going to wait for a few of you to join. My name is Mira Manek and I am just going to take you through some of my chai making and the detox waters or the cleansing waters that I have every single day. Hi everyone, thank you all for joining. Hi, thank you. Hopefully some more people will come on and then I can start, and I'll start in 2 minutes. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I just was trying to figure out logging in. It just wasn't working for 2 seconds. I hope you're all having a lovely day and enjoying your Monday and staying afloat and positive and happy. So I love Mauli Rituals and everything that Mauli stands for. I love all their oils and I use them every single day. So I'm always happy to collaborate with Anita and Mauli. So a few of you have joined. I'm going to talk you through today some of my teas and daily waters and chai, and sorry, 1 second. I think I just want to let them know that I'm online because they think I'm not. No, it should be fine. Sorry. Okay, so. Right, so I'm going to start by showing you my daily morning ritual. Now this is something that I write about in my book Prajna, which is all about Ayurveda and rituals for happiness. That's exactly what it's called. It's called Prajna, and I write in there about the morning and daily waters I drink. But because we're at home right now and there's more time, I feel like I can actually spend a little bit more time doing these things. So sometimes when I'm busy on a day-to-day basis, I may forget to put this water on in the morning, or I may forget to fill up my bottle. But these days I'm doing it every single day, so it's really great. I just fill up a large pot of water, put it on boil on slow heat just before, as soon as I wake up. I don't have to drink it the first thing in the morning. I just put it on in the morning, or I put it on the night before, that's fine as well. And then in the morning, I basically start. I'm going to just let them know that I'm on because they think, hi. Oh, that worked. It paused. Amazing. I wasn't sure. I've not actually paused this before. Right. So I basically do it the night before or in the morning, and it just gives me that one thing that I do in the morning, and then I fill it up in my bottle so that I can sip on it all day, and in a big jug so that I can refill my bottle. And this is exactly what I do. I fill it up with water. I place it on a slow heat to heat up. It takes a while because obviously, I'm not in any rush these days, so it's not like I need the water heated immediately, and then I basically put some cumin seeds. Now the seeds that you put in the water and that you have every single day, they can vary. You can do them depending on whether you like the taste or the kind of effect that you like, or just see how one feels and then add another. Generally these days I'm adding cumin seeds. They're great for digestion, just literally a hand, like a sprinkle, half a teaspoon, and then I add in some. So these really potent smell. I actually quite like the smell. It's quite peppery and spicy, but it's Cumin Seeds or ajwain, very, very small. And you literally, again, just put a small handful. You don't need so many of these. These are really good for bloating. So cumin, all these things, they all help with digestion. They all help to ignite the digestive fire, the agni. And that's exactly what we're trying to do in Ayurveda. Ayurveda is all about igniting the digestive fire and making sure that our digestion is robust on a daily basis, because everything centers around digestion. And so anything that we can do to help that digestion is beneficial to us, especially during the days. Even if we have a heavy meal, or if you don't have a heavy meal, think of these like cleansing waters. You can have them instead of having your daily water. And ajwain or Cumin Seeds, which is the one that I have in my hand right now, it's strong, and it's also very, very good for any bloating, or if you have a stomach ache and you just literally take a small pinch of these, like that much, and chew on them. They're a bit spicy, so if you can't chew on them, then just swallow them whole with water. Now that's something my aunt does, whereas I sometimes just chew on them. It just depends on how you like it and whether you can take that spice. So that's just one little tip. That's something if you have a stomach ache, or you feel like you've eaten too much, or you're getting indigestion, that's one little tip to have. So this water now contains cumin seeds, ajwain, or Cumin Seeds, and I'm going to put literally only a few, now less of these, fenugreek seeds. Now this is great for blood sugar levels, for cholesterol, for all these things. I'm putting very little of these. Now, this is something that if you do have really high cholesterol or blood pressure or anything like that, it's a great one to soak overnight in water and then drink that water the next morning and chew on those seeds. Again, not too many. And that really helps with, like I said, cholesterol levels and all of that. Something that my mom actually taught me. But these are little tricks and tips. So you can literally put a little bit of this. Now, if you don't have fenugreek, it doesn't matter. You can just omit and change and as and when you like, or if something doesn't taste nice and you don't like the flavor, that's fine as well. And then you can add fennel seeds. Now, fennel has a lovely aniseed-like flavor. I'll go and get those seeds. I don't have them here for some reason. Fennel seeds are great for cooling the body. So people have them a lot in the summer months, and one of the drinks that we make is fennel powder soaked in a muslin cloth in water with sugar in there. And that's one of the welcome drinks that you have when you go to someone's wedding or when you are celebrating something. So in India, it's taken because fennel cools the body down. But actually, if you have it in concoction with all of these, again, it enhances digestion, cools the body down, and has other anti-inflammatory properties. So I'll go and get that one as well. So I've got a massive jar of these. So these are fennel seeds. Now these are also used to just chew after a meal. If you've ever gone to an Indian restaurant and you have, for pitta, exactly. If you've ever gone to an Indian restaurant and after the meal, you'll see a little plate there with some of these, or they might be coated. If you've seen these ones, they might have been coated with different colors and sugar. Obviously that's not that good for you, but the idea of having this after a meal is to freshen your breath, and to help with digesting that food. So you literally just, I'm only going to have a little bit so that I can actually talk to you, but you literally just have a little bit in your palm, and people generally have it like this, but they are roasted. So these ones are roasted. Now you just put them in the oven with a bit of lemon, tiny bit of turmeric and a bit of salt, and you roast them for a while, maybe for half an hour on a very low heat, so that they have that sort of crunch when you eat them, rather than when you have fennel seeds plain that have not been roasted. They're a bit more softer and harder to chew. So again, you can just put a handful of these. Now I don't add these every day to my concoction, my drink concoction, my water, but they taste delicious and you can definitely add them. And also you can look up the benefits of some of these spices and just see what works for you. You know, if one of them creates more heat, or if one of them's better in the winter. So look up what works for you and go according to what works for your body, your taste buds, what you like. So I'm going to show you that's on a low heat, and that's the color right now. By the end of it, I'm going to show you a chai right now, and I'll put this at the back. And by the end of our conversation, the water will have gone like a really deep yellow, quite kind of green actually. And that's the color that it'll become after. So then I literally just cool it down, fill it up in my bottle, and have warm water the whole day. And warm water is also another thing that we want to feed our body with, rather than cold water, because it ignites. Again, it helps with that digestive system. It helps with the digestive fire. And there are certain things in Ayurveda that, I'm still chewing on that fennel. There are certain things in Ayurveda that douse the digestion, the agni, the digestive fire. And there are certain things that help ignite it. And we want to do everything that helps to ignite that digestive fire. And so this tea, for example, is one of them. Then having warmer water, or at least room temperature water rather than cold water, is another thing. Now, cold water, on the other hand, douses that digestive fire. And anything cold actually doesn't help the system. Obviously, if you're out and about and it's a hot day and you're going to have something, 1 or 2 or 3 times a week, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But if that's something you do a lot and you have a lot of cold drinks and you have very irritated digestion, then that's something to look into. So sometimes in Ayurveda, it's as much about changing those habits and refraining from something as it is about introducing those things. Yes, exactly, Anita. Cold water is a definite no-no. So I'm going to make my chai while that tea gets brewed and all those spices really sort of work their way into the water. Now, the reason why we warm it up, and you can have this cold, The only thing is that if you have it cold, then the spices won't infuse into the water, and the color, you'll see that by the color change and also by the flavor. So if you just put this in water overnight and then you have it the next day, you won't taste it in the water, but you'll be able to chew on the seeds. Whereas in this way, you'll be able to taste the flavors of those spices in the water, which means that their properties and their nutrients have sort of come into the water, which is what we want basically. And we want that sort of potent element which helps us digest food all day and really helps our digestive system remain robust during the day. So here we are. And this is also one way of slowing your morning down, having different rituals that you can sort of sprinkle in your day that can help ground you and nourish you, and things that really come naturally. Sorry, my camera is going lower and lower. Okay, there we are. Right, so chai, I'm going to use oat milk today. You can use almond, you can use dairy, anything you like basically. And I'd already heated that pan up. So that's around a small mug of chai. I'm going to add a tiny bit of water to that. You don't need to add water. If it's almond milk, I would recommend not adding the water because it's quite liquidy. Whereas oat milk is quite thick, so adding water is completely, it's one of those things that Indians do. But in India, when you're having chai on the streets of Mumbai or wherever you are, it'll be thick and creamy because the milk is very, very thick. And then they boil that with some water as well. And also some of that water evaporates because the reason that chai is chai, or what makes a chai is that you boil it in a pan rather than putting a tea bag, and you sort of let it brew and you let those spices sort of filter through. If anyone has any questions, do send them my way. And also if anyone has joined, we're going through some of the sort of rituals that I do on a daily basis, especially right now actually, for kind of helping keep my digestion going and keep it strong and keep that digestive fire ignited during the day. And now I'm making a chai as well. So one of the things I showed you was the water, which is still sort of cooking away or like heating away, which I'll then fill up in my bottle. And then the other thing is now the chai. So now I'm going to grate a piece of ginger. Now you can use a pestle and mortar for this. You can slice the ginger, but the thing about slicing it is that the juices won't seep into the water or the milk as well. Whereas actually grating it, the juice comes out and extracts very, very efficiently. And you can really taste it. Sometimes when you order a ginger tea in a restaurant or in a hotel, and if they give you pieces of ginger, sometimes that sort of flavor of the ginger doesn't really come through, and then you want to chew on those pieces of ginger. Whereas in this sort of using a small grater or using a pestle and mortar means that flavor will really, really come into the chai, and it will take less time. You know, sometimes you need more time to for the ginger slice to soak, rather than this grated ginger, which is a very immediate response. So you literally just put all that ginger in. Now, ginger is one of the main spices in chai. And the thing about chai is that while, some people don't work well with milk, or, milk isn't always the best thing for digestion, the spices in the chai are very beneficial in so many ways. Ginger is anti-inflammatory. Ginger is sort of awakening and warming. It's a very warming spice, so it really gives you that internal heat that you want. And again, anti-inflammatory, so you can have lots of ginger, and it's so good for you, so nutritious, so healthy, and it just tastes delicious. I love the way sort of chai wakes you up, not just with the tea, but with all those spices that sort of come together to give you that sort of warm inner hug. So the ginger is in there. Now, the thing about chai is, you can make it in so many different ways. And the main thing is try and boil it in a pan. One of the key ingredients has to be ginger, because ginger is, it is the key ingredient. I make a chai spice that I sell in my cafe and online, but that chai spice is 7 spices and coconut sugar. And the main spices in that, again, are ginger powder and cardamom powder. And then the rest comes. So cinnamon, black pepper, white pepper, all of that is afterwards. I'm also going to add some tea leaves, which is also a key ingredient in giving us that kick. I'm going to put a whole heaped teaspoon into that. You can, of course, use a tea bag in there. You want a chai latte? Well, I'm glad I've inspired that. I'm glad. Chai is great, it's such a great time, 5 o'clock also chai. I would say 5 is the last sort of time in the day that you want to do a chai, because you don't want to get that kick of caffeine after 5. After 4 really, but it just depends, your system might be different, and that's totally fine. Like, it doesn't bother me that much, but generally after 4:30 I don't tend to drink any caffeine, because even if I don't feel the effects, I think it affects the sleep the quality of our sleep. But 5 is fine, and I think, depending on your sleeping time, I think 5 is fine. So that's got tea leaves, and again, sorry, I think I'm going back to what I was saying. You can put tea bag in there. So often I'll just put a tea bag in there, and that's completely fine. So I put the ginger in there, I put the tea leaves. Now, the thing about chai is if you don't have any other spices, just keep it a ginger, but I'm going to add some others. So I have a chai spice mix that I use, but I'm not going to use that today. I'm going to show you how to do it without the chai spice mix. This is my chai spice mix, which is 7 spices, all mixed together in different proportions. But what I'm going to do, and it's very simple to do it without that, ginger and then cardamom pods. If you have cardamom pods, crush them with a pestle and mortar, or just use a knife to sort of cut them into little pieces and then put that in and let that brew. Because again, just like the ginger, if you crush them, then the flavor will come through. Whereas if you put them in whole, you won't really be able to taste that cardamom unless you boil it for a really long time. So I've got cardamom powder here because that, for me, is more potent, and you can really, really taste the cardamom then. Again, each and every single spice that you use has its own benefits, but all of them enhance digestion. But they all have different properties. So look them up, what's more warming, what's more cooling, what's more... there's just so many different properties. And like I said, it all enhances digestion. So we're going to put literally less than a 1/4 teaspoon. We're only making 1 mug here, so don't want too much. I love how peppery cardamom is, and there's just something dessert-like about it that I really like. And now I'm going to put a pinch of black pepper. So literally just take your black pepper pot, jar, and put a pinch of that. And again, a pinch of cinnamon. Now, black pepper and cinnamon are not the most potent spices in a chai. It's usually ginger. Sometimes I'll go to a chai wala in Bombay or wherever, and they'll just be grating ginger, and they'll use something else, or maybe another spice, maybe cardamom. But generally, they all have their own way of making things, and every chai will taste different because of that. And some parts of India, they only use cardamom, or they use more cardamom. In some parts of India, they use or some chai walas will just use their own chai spice mix, which has more of something. But as a sort of general rule, I would say the key things are ginger and cardamom, and then just put a bit of black pepper if you like. Some people don't like if you're new to chai, you may not like too much pepper. I love pepper, and I love ginger, and I love it spicy. Yes, the smell of cardamom is incredible. I think that's my favorite. I love cinnamon in desserts, and I just love cinnamon eye porridge. But the smell, I have to say, the aroma of cardamom is definitely my favorite, especially more recently. And it works really well with saffron. So saffron and cardamom in desserts are amazing. So, and just to go back a step to the chai spice mix, if you're making this at home and if you want to make it. Now, the reason why this is handy is, firstly, you can just add it in. Secondly, if you're making a tea, which you can't be bothered to, for example, do a pan, boil it in a pan, you can pour your tea bag, just the way you would make a normal English breakfast tea. You can put the tea bag into the bottom of the mug, put a bit of chai spice at the bottom of the mug, again, a little, maybe 1/4 teaspoon, if you like it a little bit spicy and rich, and then pour the hot water, slowly over the top, and stir it as you go along, because that will stir all the spices in and hopefully melt any large particles that are in there, so they don't get into your throat. But that's just a simple way of doing it, and that's why this is really handy, because a lot of Indians, they're traveling abroad and they don't have access to having chai all the time, will carry this in their purse or in their bag, because actually it does wonders to your normal tea that you have in a hotel room. So the way to make this, I've got a recipe in my book, Saffron Soul, but the way to make this is basically mixing up your favorite spices, ground spices. So we get them ground and ready, and then and in different proportions. So you'd have to look it up online or get it from my book. And everyone has a different way of making it. Sometimes it's nicer to put extra cardamom. If next time you want to try it with more ginger, that's fine as well. And yeah, so that's what I'd say you want to do. You want to let this boil for around 10 minutes or 7 minutes. What is the name of my book? The name of my book, I've got 2 books. One is Saffron Soul. It's a blue book, it's beautiful, and it's got lots of recipes in it. Every single recipe is photographed, and it starts with the chai. And the second book is Prajna, which is it's an book on Ayurveda called Ayurvedic Rituals for Happiness, and it's Prajna, bright pink cover. And there was one more thing I was just about to say. What was it? Chai. If you're having a chai, I can't remember now. So now the other thing you need when you're making it. Oh yes, somebody asked that, can we use Earl Grey? That's totally fine. I mean, I've used Earl Grey before, and if you really like Earl Grey, use Earl Grey instead of English breakfast. And someone else is now asking, is there a specific tea? I think it can be anything. I mean, some people prefer specific tea type brands because they're stronger, but I would say anything. And if you want to use a tea bag in there, like I said, it's completely fine. Tea leaves are easy if you've got a strainer. If you don't have something to strain, I mean, you do need one of these if you want to make chai at home, because you'll be boiling all these spices in a pan, including the ginger, and to sieve it through and to sieve the chai sort of and make sure it doesn't go into your actual mug, you do need one of these strainers. Thank you so much, Geeta. So this is what the chai looks like now. It's actually done. It smells lovely, although I've now become immune to the smell because it's been long enough blowing into my face. And it's quite rich and dark. It's quite a dark brown. You do want it to get to that color actually, because that's when you have real Indian tea. Now the 3 defining things for an Indian chai are that it's karak, which is strong, so you want that to boil so the brown color comes through, and the tea has enough tea leaves in it. The other thing that defines a chai is it's spicy, so you want the spices in there. And the third thing that defines chai is that it's sweet, and I haven't put any sugar in this yet, and I don't want to, but if you want to, because I feel like oat milk has a nice touch of sweetness to it. If you want to make it the proper way, I would say add the sugar. It's meant to be a small shot of, sweet, spicy, milky, delicious, and strong tea. So if you want to make it the real Indian way, add some sugar, add some jaggery. Jaggery is delicious. Jaggery is very earthy, natural, very mineral rich, and got lots of iron in there. And it's obviously sweet as well. It's little blocks. I'll show you in a minute actually. Thanks, amazing, Annabelle. Yes, I've been doing this every day since lockdown. I mean, I make chai anyway. I have a chai cafe in London, but I don't tend to always sit there and let my chai boil in a pan. I sometimes just put a tea bag in and put my chai spice mix the way I told you. And that's the shortcut, and it's the sort of unritualistic way of making chai. This is the sort of more, let's spend 5 minutes brewing the chai, smell the aroma, sit down, have my chai. There's something really ritualistic about making this chai and actually seeing or smelling all the spices boil in the pan and that aroma infuse into your sort of space and house, and then sitting outside or inside, wherever you want, and on a sofa, and taking a moment to just breathe, sit, reflect, and have your chai. It's such a nice little thing to do. A lovely way to start the day. I usually go for my morning, not every single day, but I've been going for every other day for a quick run in the morning. And when I come back, I sit down and have my chai. My coffee shop. Oh yeah, I've got a cafe in Soho. It's in Kingley Court, at the top of Kingley Court, inside Trioga. It's called Chai by Mira. But if you follow me on Mira Manek, at Mira Manek, you'll be able to see. So here we are. I've boiled the chai and I'm pouring it into my new favorite cup, which I absolutely love. I've got 2 of these. One is blue and one is pink, and it's my new, literally, it's so perfect for chai as well. It's not too big, not too small. In India, it's when you get a chai, it's called cutting chai. They call it cutting chai, and it's a very small shot that you get, and it's meant to it's very sweet, it's very rich and strong, and it's very, very sweet, and it's literally this small. And you almost like swig it down, and it's meant to just suddenly wake you up like an espresso shot, which is nice, definitely nice, but I feel like I like having a larger quantity and maybe having it slightly less strong because I'm having it larger. So this is the perfect size, I think. And I have my evening turmeric chai in this as well. So there it is. That's my beautiful pink mug, which I actually got from, I think, Fab India or somewhere in India, maybe Good Earth actually, on my last trip to India, and that's what it looks like. So you want it to be quite brown. Now, the other thing I was also going to mention is that I grew up drinking chai from a young age, but I didn't drink it with the tea leaves. Sorry, I've just got all these messages coming through. Yeah, I didn't drink it with the tea leaves. So that's the other way of making chai. And that in my cafe, actually, we don't actually put the tea leaves in there. We just make it with milk, but the spices are so strong enough. And we had add the coconut sugar to that spice mix, and it's delicious. But you can make it for your children, for yourself. If you don't want the caffeine, you can make this exact thing with milk, a little bit of sweetness, whatever you want, coconut sugar, jaggery sugar, anything, and put just the spices. So you can grate the ginger, put a little bit of cardamom, a pinch of cinnamon, pinch of black pepper, and the other spices are nutmeg, clove, and I've got cardamom, ginger, cinnamon, black pepper, white pepper, nutmeg, clove. So the only other spices that are missing in this are nutmeg, clove, and a pinch of white pepper. But those are not necessary. You know, I put very small amounts in my spice mix that I make. I put very small amounts of nutmeg, clove, and white pepper, and you can completely omit those. So aromatherapy making it, yeah, exactly. I totally agree. It does feel like a bit of aromatherapy, very strong aromatherapy. So cheers, guys. I'm going to have a sip of this. Yeah, so I do think, oh my God, that's quite spicy actually, which I really like. But for those of you who don't know that sort of spice, maybe that is too much ginger for 1 cup. But I love it. I literally crave that sort of warmth and inner heat. I've been told to have more sort of ginger anyway, because I have sort of, what do I have? I have slightly slow circulation, so my hands and feet get really, really cold, and this gives me that inner warmth that I really, really, really crave. So let's look at this water now, which has been boiling all this time. So for anyone who's just joined, I've made a chai, and I've shown you how to make chai, but before that I had put on boil some water, a big pot of water, it's massive, and with some spices in there. And this is the water that I sip on all day. I then fill in my bottle, I let it cool down, fill it up in my bottle, and then sip on it the whole day and add it to another jug so I can just replenish myself. You can have normal water, and there's nothing wrong with that. This just enhances digestion and helps you. I can't say it'll solve anything. I think Ayurveda doesn't work like that. It doesn't just solve issues, but there are various things that you can enhance your wellness with, enhance the way you feel. And if digestion is digestion is one of the main root causes of so many problems, and this is one of the things that can help. So this, like I said before, has various spices. You can see that color has really changed. And so that's why it's important to let it boil or put it in hot water. You can always just put a kettle of hot water into your mug or into your bottle or a big pan and put those spices in. You really don't need that many. As you saw, I put in 1/4 teaspoon to half a teaspoon of cumin seeds. I then put in literally 1/4 teaspoon of carom seeds, which is ajwain ajwain. And then I put a pinch of fenugreek, and all these spices, all these seeds have different properties, but they all help with digestion. So I call them digestive waters. They're in my book as well, but they're just, if you look up Ayurvedic practices on different websites, you will see that one of the things that Ayurveda speaks about is these digestive waters, cleansing waters, digestive waters, whatever you want to call it. And you can also put coriander seed. I don't have any coriander seeds with me, but that's another one to put in. And fennel seed, which I also mentioned. But again, you don't need all of them. You can just stick with one. And if there was one I was going to stick with generally, I would alternate between cumin seeds and fennel seeds. Ajwain is stronger, so if you have digestion issues, then ajwain or carom seeds are great. So I've talked through that. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention while I sip on my chai, I don't know if any of you have made chai along with me, but you can sip on it and you can let me know how it is. So while I sip on my chai, I thought I'd tell you about using these spices in your food. And actually, the reason why it's important to make sure that you cook with spices, because it enhances, again, the digestion, but it also helps to eliminate or helps to combat the bloating that you might get from certain things. So for example, I will give you one little trick that actually is really helpful for me. Well, not just for me, but it's actually something that all Indians use. Now, this bottle, it usually comes in I can't see it right now, but it usually comes in a really bright yellow, small bottle because you don't need much of it. And this is called Asafoetida and what we call hing. And this is something, it's so potent, it smells pretty not so great. It's strong, it's really, really strong. I can't even describe how it smells, but it's not great. But the point is, it gives you a lot of flavor. And more importantly, the reason why Indians use this in their dals or when they're cooking pulses or when they're cooking bean curries or anything which is pulses or lentils, which are known to bloat you a little bit, or they can cause gas. They can cause some issues if you have too many of them. The reason they use this is to prevent that from happening. So when you're just about to put those beans in, or when you're just about to put those lentils in, you put a pinch of this in. So we, literally open it up on the side where the holes are and literally put shake it once or twice. So we're talking literally less than a quarter teaspoon or an eighth of a teaspoon. You put it in then. So after you've done your onions and your garlic and your spices, once you've cooked all of that through, you put literally a tiniest pinch of the asafoetida or hing into that base of the curry or dal or whatever you're making, and then put your beans in, then put your pulses in, then put your lentils in. And that helps to combat, again, like I said, any bloating that will cause. I can't say that it's a miracle worker where it just doesn't do it, but it's definitely meant to help. But secondly, for anyone who doesn't have garlic and onions, it gives a lot of extra flavor. So it sort of is meant to mimic that flavor, which is why it's so pungent when you open it up, and it's it smells pretty strong. So this is a really good one to have in your pantry if you're cooking Indian food, and if you're cooking a lot of beans and a lot of lentils and pulses. Mung beans aren't as gaseous or aren't as bloating as other beans. So mung beans is, again, the reason why Ayurveda hails the mung bean, which is that green bean. Very, very small and very easy to cook, and it's the bean that we use in khicheris as well. So if you've heard of khichri, and I'm guessing a lot of you are into Ayurveda or have heard of it, so you may have heard of khichri, and it's a mixture of the rice and the mung beans, split mung beans in equal proportions usually, and then you cook it through. And again, that's why Ayurveda speaks a lot about mung beans and speaks a lot about khichri, because it is a cleansing thing, but it also gives you that protein, especially as a vegetarian, that you need. So I think that sort of covers a lot of the things that I was going to speak about today. And if there's any questions, send them my way. Otherwise, I hope you all have a chance today or tomorrow to have a cup of chai, to sit down, make it your ritual and enjoy. And I hope you all enjoying this time and taking a little bit of time out for yourselves, and have a lovely day. Thank you so much to Mauli for having me. I absolutely love all your products. I use the oil every single day. And I love sprinkling rituals into my daily life, which is exactly what Mauli is all about. So thank you everyone, and see you all soon. Enjoy the chai, and lots of love. Bye.